What is going on, everyone? Hope you had a good week. We finished strong in the market this week after a ton of sell-off and a lot of pain. Today, I want to cover a big headline from Rigetti. They've announced a strategic collaboration with Quanta Computer to accelerate development and commercialization of superconducting quantum computing. We're going to go into that article. I also want to show you an interview that I watched with IONQ's CEO that I thought was really interesting. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. And if you're new to the channel and you find value in this content or wanting to learn about quantum computers or investing in quantum computers, please leave a like or subscribe if you feel I've earned it. All right, jumping straight in. So Rigetti has announced a strategic collaboration with Quanta Computer to accelerate development and commercialization of superconducting quantum computing. So if we take a look, Rigetti announced that it has entered into a strategic collaboration with Quanta Computer, a Taiwan-based global Fortune 500 company and global leader for computer server manufacturing, to accelerate the development and commercialization of superconducting quantum computing. Pretty cool. The companies have committed to investing more than $100 million each over the next 5 years, with both sides focusing on their complementary strengths to develop superconducting quantum computing technologies. In addition, Quanta will invest $35 million and purchase shares of Rigetti subject to regulatory clearance. So we did see today in the market that Rigetti did respond pretty positively to this news. We saw a nice increase on the day. And I think this is amazing. As these companies continue their collaborations, there is a sense of community in the quantum computing space that everyone's working towards the same end goal, which is a scalable quantum computer that will change the world. All right, so Quanta's investment in Rigetti will strengthen our leadership in the flourishing market. Our company's complementary strengths. Rigetti is a pioneer in superconducting quantum technology with open modular architecture, enabling incorporation of innovative solutions across different parts of the stack easily. And Quanta, as the world's leading notebook server manufacturer with $43 billion in annual sales, will help to put us at the forefront of the quantum computing industry, says Dr. Kulkarni, Rigetti CEO. So what have I been saying on this channel since I started it a month and a half ago, or whenever it was? I said Rigetti is positioned uniquely because of their scalable architecture. You can buy just the QPU from Rigetti. You can buy the whole quantum computer. You can run software on the cloud, on Amazon or Microsoft. You can work with Rigetti in different ways in both software, hardware, and so on. So this is what I was talking about as far as Rigetti being flexible and nimble and holding more or less the infinity stones for this quantum race, because they can pivot into partnerships easily, because Dr. Kulkarni has said before that we built our product with modularity in mind. So someone could grab this piece of Rigetti and apply it to their commercial objectives. So we're seeing this play out, and you'll see it more and more, in my opinion. So one amazing reason to be bullish on Rigetti is Dr. Kulkarni's vision to create a modular architecture which allows other companies to plug into the progress Rigetti has been making. So great article. How did the stock do today? Well, it was up. So let's just take a quick peek at quantum stocks and their performance today. So Rigetti leads with a 5.35% gain. This week, unfortunately, a lot of stocks across the market got beat up. So it was nice to see some money rotating back into these quantum stocks. We also had Intel post a nice gain today, and we know that Intel is in the silicon and the quantum game. Amazon announced yesterday their quantum chip and saw a nice little 1.7% bump. And Microsoft, Google, QTUM, all in the green today. So let's look at the chart, especially the daily chart, and just kind of see how this manifested. All right, so at market open, we gap down, and then we have a nice rally, okay? And this rally continued until it was a solid hour or so. And then we just stay in this channel. There's a little bit of sell-off, and we end the day up about 5%. So on pretty good volume as well to start the day. So if we look at the daily chart, the story tells some investor enthusiasm, a little bit of sell-off, and a strong finish to end the week. Now I want to pivot and I want to talk about IONQ, because IONQ released earnings this week. And they weren't terrible, but they weren't that great either. So let's dive in and kind of do some analysis and see what this means for IONQ. All right, jumping over to thestreet.com. Just 2 days ago, IONQ released Q4 2024 earnings. And unlike some quantum computing companies, IONQ is achieving meaningful revenue and growing. So that's not necessarily a dig at other companies. It just means that IONQ has rapidly commercialized and is actually making money at a more rapid pace. As we saw with NVIDIA this week, it's hard to keep Wall Street happy. EPS fell 68 cents per share below analyst estimates. If we look down a little further, we saw that IONQ's full year revenue grew 95% to $43.1 million, and new bookings were $95.6 million in 2024, including a $22 million fourth quarter. The results show a fast-growing company. However, losses continue to make this a high-risk and speculative stock. So even in the last month, we saw IONQ in talks with Maryland for the quantum, making Maryland like $1 billion deal to make Maryland the capital of quantum. We've seen IONQ in talks to move into a new, bigger house. They're talking with potentially Texas, and this company is growing quickly. And I wanted you all to hear, you don't have to hear me yap about it. Let's hear from the CEO himself, because I thought this was a really interesting interview on CNBC. I had never heard the CEO talk before, and I thought this was a pretty cool interview. So let's take a look, and I'll let you know my thoughts.
He is the CEO and president of IONQ. Nicola, welcome.
Honored to be here.
So the backstory here is so interesting. You were on the board.
I was. Yeah.
You said, you might have had something to do with this company's existence all along the way. It was one of the first quantum names to come public. It's still maybe the biggest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look,
And now you're the CEO. What happened? How do we get here?
Well, I've been following IONQ's technology for about 25 years, ever since I was a physicist at Cambridge University. I had the privilege of being able to sponsor its IPO in 2020. We were the first. We're the best capitalized independent player in the market. I would argue that we remain the 800-pound gorilla of the category, right? Whether you look at revenue, market cap, capitalization, expertise in how far ahead we are in real-world applications.
Let me ask you something. What do you do? What is a qubit? I understand on an intellectual level that quantum is going to break crypto and all this stuff, but what today does quantum computing do? I'd love to know.
Well, so look, quantum computing I think about as the third leg of the stool in the computing ecosystem, right? So we had CPUs, and I can remember 10 years ago when Intel was busy bashing Jensen and NVIDIA and saying GPUs would never matter, right? And I find that sort of ironic that our market cap's about the same as NVIDIA.
So now Jensen's saying you don't matter,
of QPUs and quantum processing. But there will be a day when all three of these sit side each other,
So
right?
you're involved with QPUs, quantum
processing units. Exactly. And
Yeah, and that day is coming real quick. And it's what I've said on this channel for quite a while is that QPU isn't a direct competitor to the CPU or GPU. It's a complementary tool that will add to our overall total compute by having all of these types of compute work alongside.
So bigger? Do they have more connections? What are they?
Well, we're going to solve problems that no one else can solve in the world because of the beauty of quantum mechanics, right? So quantum mechanics allows you to effectively perform a lot of calculations at the same time on really large, meaty, complex problems with huge data sets that have lots of permutations, right? Lots of combinations, right? So the examples that you used are some of the things we can do or will be able to do. Right now, IONQ has been a company that I've always loved since IPO because we're focused on winning the technical race and the commercialization race, right? So we're partnering with people like AstraZeneca on computational chemistry and drug design. We're partnering with people like ANSYS on computer-aided engineering. We're partnering with General Dynamics on things like fraud detection, anomaly detection.
And do you think you're already ahead? Because I've been amazed by AI. I mean, watching this technology really arrive and what it can do, and that's just for a retail.
So look at those partners and look at where the future is headed as far as technology. Because next we're going to do a stock price analysis, and you're going to see that this stock right now is a screaming deal, in my opinion.
Retail user like me. Right. Is a quantum leap better than AI in doing all of what you described, which sounds to me like the same use cases that AI is pitching itself to solve?
Well, quantum AI is not at the current state that classical AI is today. It's going to be the next leg of the stool, just like GPUs are the next leg of the stool from CPUs, right? We very much consider ourselves to be a disruptive computing company, and we think that our future is as bright as, NVIDIA was a few years ago, for example. So it's going to be an exciting...
And if you look back, even when NVIDIA was first starting to make GPUs, there were so many people saying, "Oh, this is worthless. This is not viable. Why are you doing this? Company is worth nothing." And you often see in disruptive technology, there's a lot of resistance, and a lot of the resistance with quantum computing specifically comes from misunderstanding of what quantum computers are.
Exponential ride ahead, because as we make advances in our computer, we gain exponential computing power. So I'd say the quantum computers move ahead kind of doubly exponentially. It's not Moore's law every 2 years. Every time we add a qubit, we're doubling the power of our machine.
What's a qubit?
A qubit.
So what he's saying here is it isn't Moore's law where compute doubles every 18 months. He's talking about a rapid exponential acceleration of power. So you've got to pay attention to these details when these CEOs talk. They're not talking about, oh, in 15 years, maybe we'll have something that resembles a usable. No, they're talking about exponential increase in power coming up fast.
Effectively a unit of computational power in the quantum world.
Got it.
Right? And there are different ways of making quantum computers. You've heard Microsoft has a strategy. Google has one. Amazon just announced one this morning. All of those players are behind us on the actual maturation of their R&D roadmap. Some of them, I would argue, are a decade behind us, 10, 15 years behind us. I mean, when people talk about a prototype and they've done something once and they have one qubit, we've got dozens of qubits on the way to hundreds of qubits in the next, year or two. And we think it takes about that
year or two, not 15, not 20, not 30 years, year or two. So folks just got to pay attention to what these companies are saying. Look at their partners, listen, learn. With any disruptive technology, if anyone was a subject field expert, it's going to be someone like the CEO of IONQ, who's worked for IONQ for over a decade and understands the industry and understands where things are headed.
Many to do this useful stuff that we're already driving GAAP revenue around this year, right? We're the only company in the space that has guided to $85 million of GAAP revenue this year, the midpoint. We're on our way to 9 figures of GAAP revenue next year.
All right, so that concludes the interview. I thought that one was really interesting. I just wanted to take a look really quickly to close this video at IONQ's chart and how did so what happened after they reported earnings? Well, Wall Street didn't like it. We had a gap down, significant sell-off, and we touched $24. And remember, the macro conditions of the market have been brutal these last 6, 7, or 8 trading days. So any trade resembling risk of any kind, money was rotating out of. So all of that needs to be applied when you're looking at a chart like this. The macro conditions are extremely important. So we closed today at 24.57. Now, if we zoom out, if we look at 3 months, we can see that IONQ at one point this year, actually this was late last year, or no, it was actually early this year, was trading at $51. And after Jensen's comment, it dropped all the way down to 24. And then when some clarifications were made, IONQ jumped back into this channel and hovered between $38 and $44 a share. Now, if we look a little closer at the last, let's say, week or two with this very challenging market we've been in, to say the least, the risk off market, we've seen a slow sell-off. So we are right now actually at a lower point than the quantum crash level, which I'm going to be perfectly honest with you all, incredible buying opportunity for IONQ. Of course, I picked up some shares today. I'm building my position in this company, happy to build my position under 30 or 40 or $50, because this is a company that's not going anywhere. You're going to see tons of headlines from them in 2025. You're going to see this stock go right back up, if not beyond where it already was. So I want to just close the video there. Just want to remind everyone, I am not a CPA. I'm not a financial advisor. This is an investment advice. You all have to do your own research and make your own conclusions. And if you found value in this video, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. I'm just a small YouTube channel trying to grow. I hope you enjoyed this content and have a great day. Have a great weekend.